Hey, what's up, guys? I'm sure you heard from the previous podcast, Peter and Jake talking wrestling, that we're going to give you a little sneak preview here of the new podcast I'm doing. This is Jake.
This is the amazing Fritz. Welcome to our podcast.
We're going to be reviewing NXT every week, and but just right now, just do a little preview show. We're just going to be running down some of the guys, see what you think about everything. And this is Fritz. This is my uncle.
I've got to correct you there, Jake. We're not just doing the NXT show. We're doing NXT, the best WWE show each and every week. That's the show we're talking about.
It's hard to argue. Well, what did you watched Raw? What'd you think?
Last night's Raw, not good. The ending I enjoyed. I enjoyed Cena celebrating in the crowd with the little kid. Overall, I thought the Legends spots were boring. It didn't make sense to me to squash the Ascension so fast. Anytime Triple H and Stephanie McMahon are on camera, I want to change the channel.
I'm the same way. I'm getting pretty tired.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we're just gonna run some downs. We're gonna start with the champion, Sami Zayn.
Yep, back to NXT. Let's talk about Sami Zayn.
Yeah. Let's go back. He's the champ. It's awesome. Watching him wrestle in Ring of Honor and PWG and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think we're both definitely El Generico marks. So seeing him come up, it's awesome. It's like you said, it's fantastic to see him develop as a performer and take the mask off and start doing promos, but still seeing all the stuff that we've loved from his performances in the past, all the high spots, the energy he brings. It's fantastic to see somebody that's worked so hard keep going in that direction.
Yeah. I completely agree, and I think even now that they brought in Kevin Steen now, Kevin Owens, it's already feud of the year in Wrestling Observer for 2012, and now they're going to wrestle again. So obviously that's a known amazing match.
Hopefully we'll get something new, and then the stuff that we enjoyed before. But it is WWE. They have a tendency to take things that were good and make them less good.
That's true. They did ruin Goldberg.
Yeah, that's who I'm talking about. Goldberg.
Well, yes.
I'm not as big on Kevin Owens as you are. I don't know. He's always struck me as a guy that's over with other people, and I don't see what they see. He's got an intensity to his persona that doesn't translate into the ring for me. I don't know what it is that he does or doesn't do. He doesn't interest me.
Yeah, I just don't see furthermore in his indie career he would just be able to destroy guys doing the package pile driver and then the that somersault into the ropes thing. But I don't think he's gonna be. Obviously, he's not gonna be able to do that if he moves up to guys like Kane. But even furthermore, I don't think WWE would want him to do that to the young talent.
I'm not sure they're even gonna let him do the package pile driver at all. I want to see it, but I want to see wrestling when I turn on Raw, and I don't get that very often. So
it's true. And then former champion Adrian Neville, former Pac in Indies and Japan and everything.
Yep.
What do you think about him? What do you think the man that gravity forgot?
I think he's the man that the bookers forgot. They don't seem to have a whole lot to do with him. He's a great high flyer, but WWE has a history of bringing in high flyers and only doing nothing with them other than saying, look at this amazing one move he can do. I've never seen a springboard moonsault before, ever, in my 30 years. I'm doing a Michael Cole impression. Yeah. I should explain that. Sorry.
Vintage Neville.
Yeah, vintage era Neville in his debut match. I like him a lot. I wish that I could see more of him other than he's a high flyer, does high spots. I want to see some more. I guess I should go back and watch some of his Indie and Japan matches.
Yeah, he has a lot of. Yeah, we'll get into.
Yeah, I don't have any knocks against Darren Neville, but when someone gets pigeonholed as being a high flyer, that does kind of stick them in that one spot for a long time. It's hard to climb out of being a high flyer and be a champion or be a greatest of all time.
That's true. Yeah. I think. Well, with that said, though, I think his moveset definitely stands out in WWE. If they would bring him up to the main roster, I think he was on Raw that one time, and people were blown away.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah. Now, when you say his moveset, outside of the Red Arrow, what are you talking about?
Well, maybe just like some of his stuff that high spots today outside he would do, and then just his, not necessarily his moveset per se, but the speed. I think that a lot of people that only watch WWE would not be used to seeing anyone go that fast, and I think that would probably just get him over in and of itself, I would say. Oh
yeah, I totally agree. I think if WWE took the governors off the engines, so to speak, for all of the NASCAR fans out there. If just let these guys go at the speed they wanted to go, you'd get a hell of a lot more in the 10 minutes they put these guys in the ring for. Like, if you let them go full speed instead of going quarter speed, which seems to be the WWE speed, you don't run across the ropes, you kind of stroll.
Yeah.
I would love to see Adrian Neville full speed.
And then, speaking of light heavyweights, he's been in there forever, and they haven't really done much to him. It seems like they're pushing him now more than ever. Tyson Kidd. What do you think of Tyson Kidd in the NXT? What do you think of his character just in NXT? Let's not get into how they're using him in the main roster.
Well, that's tricky. I like him in NXT. He definitely seems to fit better with a lot of those up-and-coming indie guys. Like, he can work a match with those guys really well. I personally find Tyson Kidd entertaining on the mic with the angle he's been doing recently, where he says "fact" randomly, like every third sentence. Like, he'll be like, "I'm Tyson Kidd. I'm from Canada. Fact." I have 3 cats. Fact.
Four now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There's 4 on the boots now.
Ah, gotcha.
And it's not just those aren't just like those are his characters.
Those are his actual cats. Yeah. That's so it's not like he's got like Battle Cat and like Lion-O from Thundercats on there. He's got his actual cats.
Renee Young.
It's kind of strange that he cares enough to paint the picture, but doesn't travel with them.
Hey man, I don't know.
I mean, I would think cats like Florida.
Does he not travel with them?
I don't think so.
Maybe they don't come to the ring.
Yeah. Well, he talks about they talked about before on Superstars. He FaceTimes with them. So if he's FaceTiming with them, he's not traveling with them.
Well, that's ridiculous. And
by the way, that to me makes Tyson Kidd might as well be from the future, because I've never even FaceTimed with an actual person, and he's got his cats trained to do it. That's fucking amazing.
Must be some
fucking Canadian ninja cats.
Some telepathic stuff.
Yeah, they're going to take over the world.
And then a guy who's, we went from a kind of a veteran to just a kind of a rookie, Baron Corbin. He's got I would say looks very impressive. And if they put that WWE stamp on him, he's definitely going to work well on the main roster. Peter, the guy I do the other podcast with, he loves him. He thinks he's going to be the next Undertaker. And if they cover up his...
I see I think they've already given him the stamp. With the intro they give him, it's clear that the NXT arena, which brings a lot to the NXT show, because they pop at the right time, they get excited about stuff, but at the same time, they're clearly marks for the program, because they get behind who they're supposed to get behind each week, and they are behind Baron Corbin 100%. They pop for him like crazy. I think they're booking him right. They're building him as this intense character. They don't put him in the ring long. I think they're doing everything right with him. In fact, I think that match he and Bull Dempsey had last week, that 2-minute brawl they had, was really good, and especially for those guys. Yeah,
I was about to bring up Bull Dempsey. I think for the character he has, it's been so long since we've seen a guy like that in the main roster. I was thinking maybe they could do Kevin Owens and him as a tag team in the main roster would be good. But I think Bull Dempsey's a great character.
Yeah, I think Bull Dempsey, he definitely is taken to the character they've given him. I like the idea of the no gimmicks, old school hard ass. Yeah. Like that's hugely over with me. I will mark for that.
But he doesn't. If you're going to wear the singlet when you're whooping ass, you got to take the straps off to communicate that you're about to whoop more ass. He doesn't do that yet.
Oh, see, he doesn't have a finisher though. He's got a finisher, then he takes the straps off. And I think the thing that I would like to see him do is to truly be a sadistic heel. Like, I want to see him come in and squash a jobber and then, like, continue to beat the crap out of him after the match is over. Like, I want to see him put people on stretchers and kick the stretcher over. I want to see him, like take liberties with an announcer. I want to see him be a real sadist. Well, but again, it's NXT. They don't really go full tilt with that kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah. And then a guy that's been over in Japan, New Japan, for a while, was very famous in New Japan. Let's just go. Finn Balor. He was Prince Devitt. Have you seen any of his matches before he was in NXT?
I have not. The only thing I saw of him before NXT was the pictures online of him with the body paint. So he paints himself up real nice, is all I can say.
Well, him and Adrian Neville, when they were I forget which company they wrestled, but there's a few matches on YouTube. It's like 20, 30-minute masterpieces of like. So if they can do something with those two in NXT, that would be amazing. Especially with the the pageantry of the WWE and everything. But
my only knock, and this goes on Balor as well as Tommy and even Kevin Owens as well, is even though I know these guys have big careers outside, and this is the same thing the announcer said, it's their first day in WWE, I would like to see them build a little more rather than be told these guys are a big deal and have them put in the main event. I'd rather see that than be told I should care about somebody.
Yeah.
But that's me.
I can see that. I kind of like the idea of like a free agent kind of an aspect to it. It makes me think of like the Attitude Era and like just bringing these guys in Japan, just like knowing they're a big deal. It's like it hasn't been done so long. Even if it's done to a small scale like NXT, it's kind of still refreshing. Because like for a while there, you would see guys like I remember Chris Harris was in the ECW that WWE started doing, and they didn't even like make mention of it at all, even though like half the crowd knew that he was already in TNA before.
Right.
So I kind of like that. And then we already mentioned Hideo Itami, former Kenta. It's gonna be hard because it seems like half the roster already stole his moveset.
Right.
With CM Punk, the STF, and then Daniel Bryan takes a lot of his moves.
Yeah.
So that's going to be kind of interesting. But do you think he's kind of older now? Do you still see that he's going to still be able to be Kenta?
I don't know. It's another one of those tricky spots with just like being a high flyer and showing up in WWE, that's all you're ever going to be. Or being a big Japanese star and showing up in WWE, they have a tendency to not do much with those guys. Like, they didn't do much with they had Great Sasuke. They did squat with him. They had Ultimo Dragon. They did squat with him. Even going further back, they had Jinsei Shinzaki, and they had him as Hakushi for like 3 years. And the only thing they ever did with him was let him job to Bret Hart. So, I mean, I don't know if it's a language barrier or a prejudice issue, or maybe it's a language issue to where they don't get the difference with the WWE product. But I'm hopeful. I want to see more Hideo Itami. I want to be able to imagine there's going to be a Finn Balor, Hideo Itami, Daniel Bryan three-way main event at some pay-per-view somewhere down the line, but I'm not counting on it by any means.
Your breath,
yeah.
And the last singles guy we got from the NXT is Tyler Breeze. He's kind of a flamboyant gimmick and everything, but like his whole deal is his finishing move is the spin, is just like the
beauty shot, which is a spin wheel kick.
Yeah, which is I think did you say it before? That was Shannon Moore's transition move is now his finishing.
That's true. It was Shannon Moore's transition move. In fact, it's been on the cover of video games. It was such a common move for so long.
Well, he's bringing it back with the selfies. What do you think of Tyler Breeze? He's a WWE. He came up from the system, right? He's not. I don't remember him in the Indies at all or anything like that.
No. He's Dolph Ziggler's little brother.
Oh, really?
And I mean, literally, his little brother. Like, I think if you stood the two side by side, I think Ziggler's maybe 4 inches taller and looks a little older. I would love to see the two of them as a tag team. I would like to see a Family Feud angle with the Zigglers versus the Dust Brothers or the Usos.
Maybe like Tyler Breeze can throw in the towel.
Indeed,
just like Bret Hart and Owen Hart.
Yeah,
we need to book this shit, Fritz. And then
I'm easy to find, Vince. I'm easy to find.
Well, then I think a cool thing about NXT is they do a lot. They seem to do a lot more emphasis on like different style, like the tag team and like the ladies division. What do you think?
They do a lot more wrestling overall on the NXT, which is why I will say the best WWE program each week, NXT.
Yes,
even a bad NXT is better than most good SmackDowns or Raws.
Yeah, because it's only an hour. It's real refreshing just to...
Well, not even the shortness of the show. How much wrestling is in the show. Like last week's show, in the first 15 minutes, they had 2 matches. Last night's Raw, it was 20 minutes into the show before they started the first match. And one of those NXT matches was Tyson Kidd and Finn Balor. So it wasn't like it was a crap match.
And then the other match was Corbin and
Bull Dempsey I mentioned earlier, which was a solid match. Short but solid.
Let's jump into the tag team division. We're just going to name a few tag teams. that stand out a little bit. The Lucha Dragons are
the champs.
The champs.
Lucha.
They took it. Yeah, the Ascension now in the main roster. They beat them for the belts. Sin Cara brought down our Hunica's
bouncing back and forth.
Yeah.
Last week challenged for the IC title on SmackDown. This week or maybe next week he'll be back on NXT.
Did he bring the belt? Did he wear the belt? And
I can't remember if he wore the belt, but they did list him as NXT champion.
Nice. What do you think, the Lucha Dragons? How do you?
It's a curious tag team. It's they threw two guys with similar gimmicks together that really have no history working together. However, I'm a mark for luchadors. I'm a mark for mask guys. I'm a mark for new types of high flying, which those guys do. I don't know. Again, it's awful hard to break out of a high flyer mold in WWE.
It's true, and the smaller guy, I can't see him really going anywhere in that
Kalisto?
system. Yeah, he's just too small for the system.
I think they brought him in thinking he'd be the new Ray, and I mean he's capable of doing that kind of stuff. Like they just gotta decide they want to sell some more action figures, and then he'll get the call.
Yeah, and then we got they recently,
because I would buy that action figure, so make it.
And then the Vaudevillains, I think those guys are, you can tell they're young, you can tell they're new, but I like them. They got the gimmick down. What do you think of the Vaudevillains, Fritz?
I like the Vaudevillains a lot. They're surprisingly over without doing too much heel stuff, which is kind of a surprise to me. I'd like to see them do more stuff with their characters, like when they've done their videos and had them in black and white. I would love to see like a training video of them where Gotch is doing like old school test of strength stuff, like lifting huge round dumbbells up, or like picking up train axles or something crazy. And what's the other guy's name?
I'm not sure.
I forget it. Rose. I forget his name, but before he was the Vaudevillains, they had him as the Broadway, the world's greatest actor. I would like to see his training being like testing his voice, doing vocal exercises, just standing in the mirror looking at himself while Gotch is behind him lifting insane amounts of weight. And so I'd like to see him do more playing with their characters, because the gimmick lends itself to so many different things that would be very entertaining.
That's true. And
so I want to see more of them. I want to see more of them in the ring. I want to see more of them out of the ring, but it's an hour show.
And this is just an honorable mention. I don't know. I haven't really seen him much on NXT as of late, but Enzo Amore and Big Cass, what do you think of them? It's probably my favorite tag team right now in wrestling.
I think you are going SAWFT in the head. You are soft. Okay, just kidding. I actually really like these guys too. Enzo Amore's got an amazing charisma. He's really good at talking. Big Cass is surprisingly good at talking too. I would like to see Enzo as a manager mouthpiece of like a trio, like occasionally put him in the ring, but I would rather have him doing those crazy jumping around dancing stuff that he does outside the ring constantly during a match. Like,
you can see him being like the Roberto Alfonso kind of like real hype manager. Yeah,
very much in that. Yeah. Like or a truly coked out Jim Cornette. Like if you can imagine Jim Cornette just on meth, just at 100 miles an hour, that's what I would like to see.
And then
and they're the third part of that group, the chick they've put with him. Whew. Yeah, I want to see more of her. I really want to see more of her. And I like her finisher. That's an interesting looking submission.
Well, going into the women's division of NXT, what do you think of the champ, Charlotte?
Definitely Flair's daughter. She carries herself like a champion, which is surprising for someone so new to the business. She carries herself like a champion.
Better than David.
Yes. Bit better than Reed, if you want to say that. Yeah. I think she's solid in the ring, but she's not exciting in the ring. However, being solid in the ring puts you head and shoulders above the Divas cast. So she's good, but
yeah, that kind of helps. I mean, she's Flair's daughter. She's good, so she's probably going to be probably don't have to worry about her getting over,
Right.
And then after that, we have Sasha Banks. They just had I would say, surprisingly good match on the last big show NXT did.
I don't know why you would say surprising. I think she's solid also. I think she's good in the ring. She's been coming through the territory. She definitely knows and works her gimmick. Like, she works her entrance, the props she has, her sunglasses and her jacket. She works those when she's coming in. She knows her phrase. She knows how to put herself over in an interview, or at least get her catchphrases in an interview. She's not Paige, but she's solid. So I like her.
Yeah. I really don't like. I don't know why they teamed her up with I can't remember her name. The other girl though, they don't really seem like they have a lot of chemistry together.
Becky Lynch has been cursed with consecutive bad gimmicks in NXT.
Yeah.
They brought her out for 2 weeks, and she was this Irish dancing girl, which was, if you can go back and see those matches, do, because it's the most ridiculous matches I've ever seen. Like, she'll body slam somebody and then stop and do a little river dance, and then like go back to wrestling, and you could see it in her face where she's like, oh, that's right, I got to do this stupid dancing thing, and she'll stop and do the little dance and then go back to wrestling. But luckily they realized that was a terrible gimmick and they dropped it, so they've given her a generic rocker chick gimmick. I just think they need to give her a better outfit, I guess, or do something with her, because she's really good in the ring, but they've done nothing to make anybody give a crap about her.
Yeah. I just think the chemistry's off. I don't know. It's like Sasha Banks will come out like all like diva'd out, with all the glasses and everything, and she's just like sitting there like posing like a rock star, It doesn't really fit. Right,
and Becky Lynch, from watching NXT, I learned that just like Hideo Itami and Finn Balor, she's got a long career where she was working in Japan for a long time. I think they said that she and Natalya wrestled each other back in 2006 in Japan. So they know each other. So I think it's, again, that she's come from a background of the gimmick wasn't that important. So she may be waiting for a better gimmick or learning how to sell her gimmick, because she's used to just being a worker. To me, that's not a bad thing. I like workers, but if you're going to move up in the WWE system, you got to have a gimmick. You got to have that gimmick that gets over.
Or I think like a lot of things they try to do in NXT is try to just like they'll put a bad gimmick on you just to watch and see how you react to it, Whereas it's better than what they were doing years before, where they'd put a bad gimmick and put you on Raw, right, which would just like dilute you as as a wrestler and everything. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. And then last but not least, Bayley, I would say honorable mention. I'm pretty impressed with Bayley as she gets the character over. She does get the character over. I love her entrance with the Windsock men dancing. Yeah. Although I wish that she would come out and dance with them. Like, that would make the entrance that much more entertaining if she just stopped at the top of the ramp and kind of sway back and forth. She does get the character over. And I like her in the ring. I'm not sure what more they want from her to move her up. I think Bayley versus like a Nikki Bella would be a perfect dynamic for a feud and things like that. Like a gotcha. Like the fangirl versus like the total diva. That's even like the mark. Yeah. So I think that would be really cool to see something like that, or maybe even like a special occasion where like one of the Bellas or like someone will come down to NXT. But yeah, like you said, I think NXT is the best show right now. That's why I wanted to start doing this podcast. Just to break down a little bit more, like when did you start watching wrestling? What is your favorite like moments in like companies and stuff in wrestling? Just to give the people that are listening a little bit more of a holy moly! Let's see. To say that I am a lifelong wrestling fan. I grew up on the old school NWA Mid-Atlantic, like watching. Even before the Four Horsemen, I have memories of watching wrestling from then. My personal favorite moments in wrestling, and I'm going to sound like an absolute asshole when I say this, I love either being in the crowd or watching on television or something unexpected happens, and I get to see the rest of the crowd is so completely into what's going on. Like to see like little kids cry when Jeff Hardy lost. Yeah. Like that's one of my favorite moments when CM Punk ran Jeff Hardy out of WWE. Old school ECW. I see the first time I saw a guy get put through a flaming table covered in thumbtacks. That stands out in my mind. Getting to see Ultimo Dragon live was crazy for me. Meeting guys like Samoa Joe from TNA, Kurt Angle. Too many years of watching wrestling to narrow down my favorite stuff. But I'm big for luchadors. I'm big for up and coming guys. I get tired of main eventers real fast. There you go. That's why we're reviewing NXT, just to like break up the monotony. And we're going to be expanding the podcast. PJTW Central. Follow us on Twitter. Join the conversation. It's really picking up over there. And yeah, hit us up. Tell us what you think. You know, if you hate us, just talk about us on Twitter. You know, if you love us, talk about us on Twitter.
Tell us how much you hate us on Twitter. I love to see that.
All right, I'll see you guys. We're gonna put up the first official podcast, the NXT podcast. It's gonna be up by the weekend. So hopefully you guys are paying attention, and we'll see you then.
Watch NXT. Listen to us.